Okay. Good evening, everyone. Today is Tuesday, July 21st, 2026. It is currently 6 p.m. I'm going to call the Village Board of Somerset meeting to order. We will have a roll call. Trustee Dubak.
Here.
Caleb Garn.
Here.
Trustee Crone.
Here.
Trustee Fleur.
Here.
Trustee Stewart.
Here.
Trustee Wallner. Here. And Donnie Kern is here present. We will now have a pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda for consideration. We should probably have, let's have public comment first. If we can, I need to switch this around, and the reason I ask for that is if there's any, a bunch of topics that are discussed in public comment, we'd like to consider that before, considering approval of the agenda item. So we might bring those items to the forefront, so we don't have to worry about reconsidering the agenda after people are here to talk about.
So we would,
Public comment first,
yeah,
and then approve the agenda.
right, but as part of that, you're proposing that we add agenda items based on public comment?
No, I'm saying that's where they'll discuss the agenda items that they're here to discuss on public comment. And that way, the board would decide if they wanted to adopt their agenda as it's
But you're
approved
not,
or,
you're adding,
no.
Okay.
What I'm saying is moving agenda items, eventually, not adding it.
10-4.
So we'll have public comment on agenda items. We'd ask that you please stand and address us at the podium. And any items that you're going to be bringing up, please note who or what you would be discussing for agenda items. 2 minutes per topic, 14 minutes per subject.
Please provide your address too.
Yeah, name and address.
Name and address.
Anyone wish to provide public comment?
Larry Mondor, 754 190th Avenue, Somerset. And what I would like to get on brought up is I'd like to, I know if I can put a driveway off of the new Capstone development into my property, coming off of their dead end road that dead ends into my property, I'd like to bring a driveway off of it into the township. I know it's probably gonna have to go through the planning commission, and I guess I'd like to get put on the agenda for that. All I have, I just want to make sure everybody's aware of it and they have questions before. I don't want to miss this next planning commission meeting. So if they have questions, please reach out to me. So I got, thank you.
Anyone else wish to give public comment? Anyone online?
I'll use a bit of public comment to award $1,000 check to the Village of Somerset from the Pea Soup Days Committee. In hopes to utilize some of this money to make possible improvements to the two buildings on the property, the restrooms, concession stands. There's ongoing conversations about improvements that are needed. Yeah, I need to give this to Andrea, I believe.
As Public Works Chairman, I'll accept this and I'll make sure most of it ends up used on that.
So
So you want that used specifically though on Public Works or public?
in
park
Village Park,
improvements, Village Park.
yeah, and
Park
it would be
improvements.
nice to have a focus on the building facilities themselves. Was the hopes with the funding.
Yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks.
Thanks, Pea Soup Committee.
Thank you. Glad might do.
Anyone else for public comments? Hearing none, we'll close public comment. Next item is approval of the agenda items. What's the pleasure of this board?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the agenda items as presented. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next item is consent agenda.
Caleb Garn make a motion to approve the consent agenda as submitted.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the consent agenda as presented. That would include the minutes of the regular board meeting from June 16th. Public safety, rescheduling August 10th committee meeting. Update from MSA, a pay app from number 6 from MSA for TIG 5 lift station, and a pay app number 3 from MSA for multi-use trail, a fire and rescue report, and a library report. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay. Motion carried. New business. 6A. Discussion possible ETZ application platform Riverdale Properties LLC, Four Season Light Serving Town of Star Prairie. This was brought forth per the process the board has established. It was reviewed by myself, by the village engineer, and by Bob, and you guys see no problems with it and are recommending approval.
Bob, we had streamlined this process somewhat, and part of that streamlining was,
That comes to the board if there's no issues. Otherwise, it would go to planning commission for discussion.
got it,
So this is why it's here today.
perfect.
So that's why I said it's been approved by these two and myself. It was a president, engineer, and director of public works. We've all reviewed it. There's no issues. Therefore, it's in front of us for approval. I so move.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve ETZ application plan for Riverdale Properties LLC, Four Season Land Surveying, Town of Star Prairie. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. This next item, 6B, discussion possible approval of village water and sewer bills. In your packet, they'll have the bills that were presented. I believe there's 5 pages.
Make a motion to approve village water and sewer bills.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the village bills. In the amount of $900,507.41, I assume, is that gonna be your motion?
Yes. That'd be the total amount.
5 pages, sorry, 7 pages. 2 pages and 5 pages. Any further discussion? Everybody had a chance to review them? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. That motion is carried. Next item up for discussion, 6C, purchase of barricades and signage for future parades. Leave in your packet, you'll see.
I don't think there's anything in here, cause I,
Mhm. So that was something that would come from public safety, yes?
Public safety has reviewed this last parade and the number of barricades needed. I would like to look into some grants that are available and then work with Public Works and get an inventory of what we actually have now and then work on purchasing for next year.
Is this,
So is that a motion?
just discussion.
Right, I don't think we have anything. in
Well, if you
front
move
of
to
us.
table it until you get a chance to review it and bring it back after you table it.
Well, I think right now it's in Public Works hands.
Right now, it's on our agenda for consideration.
Okay.
If we table it and forward it back to anybody, what I would suggest is you table it. And then the matter will be tabled until it comes back before the board.
Yeah, we'll table it until we bring it up again then.
Okay,
Second.
motion made, seconded to table the matter until it's brought up from the committees at a later date. Any further discussion?
I guess my only discussion for that would be that we would be more than happy to work on anything, but we would let you guys for whatever recommendations would be needed. And then we'll install whatever signage or do the work of putting whatever in place. But yeah, we look for you guys for direction, but then also funding of that.
I don't know that public safety can be exclusively responsible for that, so that we'll have to have some discussion.
Yeah, yeah, however we need to figure it out.
We'll run the inventory, what we might have.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you might have.
they would just together, we need
a wish list.
Got it. Good.
I'd say under discussion, the only thing I would say, and that is that, you know, recommendation should come from both committees on this matter going forward, not just brought forward from one. So that both committees are, you know, in understanding that who's gonna do what and what's gonna happen, so that we understand it as a board too. Not just one committee coming and bringing forth and forcing the whole board to vote on something that the other committee is not happy with.
Right, yeah, we can work together.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye for the motion to table until further date. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried. Next item is 6D, discussion possible approval, resolution 2026-05, imposing a moratorium on the receipt of applications for issuance of zoning or other permits for the siting and placement of data center for the village of Somerset. In your packet, you'll receive resolution 2026-05, imposing a moratorium on the receipt of applications and or issuance of zoning or other permits for the siting or placement of data centers in the village of Somerset. You wish
Can
to
it go
have,
longer than a year? Or does it have to stay a year?
That's
A max?
Okay,
Is it a year, a max date, or I think we should push it out to 3 years?
I don't think we can.
It's a year from today, it's a year from when you enact it.
1 year is
We have
all
to
you
do
can enact a moratorium for, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and. You know, the village has zoning power, so you have a lot of discretion. You can pass a zoning ordinance. In 2 months that says you're not gonna allow data centers in the village.
I think the purpose of the whole moratorium that we're putting forth here right now is to set a moratorium so the village and the committees have an opportunity to act within the next year in order to pass such ordinances and or review them and make a recommendation. Henceforth, why the request was brought forward for this board to consider, giving us 12 months to make those changes to our ordinances and or review any further, you know, guidance that's coming from other municipalities.
And this is pretty popular right now. I'm doing a lot of these. And what I tell the municipality is, this is the start. You put the moratorium on for a purpose of doing that investigation and doing the work. You just don't pass it and put it on the shelf for a year. So you're sort of obligating yourself to take that next step.
The ordinance will be in until the ordinance gets changed, so if you,
This moratorium will be in until we can update ordinances,
right, 1 year.
1 year, yeah. And that falls on public safety to do that ordinance updates possibly?
Actually, I would prefer that it goes to the plan commission because they have zoning ordinance powers at this point. So that would be the next step. Personally, I would prefer that we just expressly prohibit them via our zoning ordinances. But that's gonna be up to the plan commission and the rest of the board, obviously. So this just gives us time to investigate the pros and cons and really make a good decision.
This is to get something on the books.
Yeah.
For today. That's all it is. Now, I'm sure that there could be, you know, additional requests from any board member for us to consider for changing ordinances in that regards, but we didn't have enough time for that, so I asked for some kind of a moratorium for us to give us time to do that, and that's what's in front of this board tonight.
So for my clarity, this disallows anybody to even submit the idea?
You're not gonna accept any applications
And then
while this is in place.
I think that's dumb.
I can't believe I'm gonna agree with Caleb on something. I think we can if we wanna go this route, we could just tell, you know, all of these things have to come through Bob more or less, or economic development at this point, and we can say, Bob, like, I don't know why we would handle it any different, and we can change our ordinances. Like, it seems like we're just filing extra paperwork to have the discussion about changing our ordinances.
I think you wanna put this in place. You don't have to,
I do too.
you can act quicker to change your ordinances. You don't have to wait for a year.
And you can also rescind this resolution if you so choose to, if the political will of this board was such, but as of right now, with everything that's going on, I think it's good for us to take a step back and put something forward and say, let's put pause on here until we do actually get a little more information on this.
Because what you don't want to have happen is someone come in, look at your ordinance, say,
I think this fits under this. This is a little vague. When they file an application, get their foot in the door, and then we're having a whole different discussion about whether it comes in under your current zoning ordinance or not. So, I mean, the board does what the board wants to do, but I would recommend you do this at least for the time being.
And again, it does say they can't submit. But if several of them, the individuals on this board decide to rescind this resolution, you know, they'd have to have a pretty convincing argument to do so.
Well, what is the definition of data center?
It says in here, doesn't it?
Is that, how many, is that like 10 servers or like, yeah, cause a data center could be like, we have a data center here,
Right.
servers like,
Or you have servers, but you don't have a facility that's, its primary function is to process data.
so let's say SMC needed more storage. Site. More storage for their servers. And they wanted to take it off the cloud, they wanted to bring it home. What would that look like?
Good question.
But that's in connection to a business. We're talking standalone data center specifically for, let's say.
What if they, okay, what if they open their own
Store
company?
management.
What if they open their own company? What if SMC wanted to open a company to manage their, something to manage their data, a small size data
So
center?
I can assure you of this, and until they make a convincing argument otherwise, you know, to the whole board, these what ifs are something that I encourage them to bring forward with any and all information provided, because right now, I'm not seeing very much of that across the country, and what I do see is very vague at best. So I think putting something in and giving them the opportunity to provide that information to convince us of your what if
There's a
question.
moratorium.
But they still could, I said you can rescind those moratoriums
Under what guise? We're not gonna hear any of it.
under board action.
No, I think the purpose of this is to allow the village to investigate, to get information from other sources.
I think we can do that.
Passing the moratorium wouldn't stop that.
No, I.
Anybody could
I think
walk
you
into
should-
the next month's meeting and say, I'd like to talk about this data center.
Well,
Talking about it is fine.
And I think, you know, you should assign a committee or somebody to spearhead that investigation. And they reach out that and they should get information from businesses and from the public. I mean, the last thing you want to do is work on social media and the internet to get your information.
It also says here in this resolution, it says the moratorium adopted is not intended to be and does not constitute a development moratorium as the term defined in Wisconsin statute 66-1001B.
So it has no teeth then?
No, it just says that,
Yes.
it says that
We can't.
pursuant to 61-034, Village of Somerset adopts a moratorium on the receipts of applications for and granting of all zoning and building permits for the placement or construction of data centers. That's what it says. So it's receiving them.
Yeah, put an application.
Exactly. So, and to get, that gives us time for the planning commission and or this board to bring forth a resolution that says, this is what we'd like to consider. But right now, the absent of having anything in there constitutes a wide opening gap that I'm concerned about. And that's why I asked for this to be discussed.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I'll support it.
I make a motion to approve and adopt resolution 2026-05 as presented.
Second,
Motion made and seconded to approve resolution 2026-05 as presented. Any discussion, any further discussion for that matter? Okay, roll call vote. Trustee Dubek,
aye.
trustee Garn,
All right,
trustee Crone.
Aye.
Trustee Flirt.
Aye.
Trustee Stewart,
Aye.
trustee Wallner,
Aye.
trustee Kern, aye. That's unanimous. Next item on agenda is fire department and strategic plan and fire station request for proposal. Now,
I
I
didn't see
believe,
anything in here for
pardon?
that. There's nothing in there. Okay, there's nothing in our.
There is.
Okay.
And the reason there isn't is, it's more of a discussion on the request for, the fire department. And is Joel on by any chance?
No, he's not.
Yeah, I didn't know if he might be on the call or something, but, Joel had originally went through with public safety on a discuss for, request for and I don't know where that sits,
It's
but
sitting with Travis right now,
so.
I believe. if it's the same one I asked him about at the last public safety meeting. He
So-
has something sitting with Travis right now. Chris might know more because she sits on that fire board.
It's being handled by the Joint Fire Rescue Commission.
But the request for, the request for, quote and pricing was originally set by,
Oh, wait,
by the police department, right?
are these the one? We're
Right?
not talking the walkie-talkies, are we?
No,
I'm sorry.
Nothing, keep going. You go.
so
Public
I
safety,
believe-
public safety was police was asking for the request for the police department.
yes,
And it kind of morphed into, well, we should probably do a public.
a joint public safety campaign.
Exactly.
So I think we should table this matter post the fire commission
Joint meeting next.
joint
next
meeting
week.
next week.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of conversation and flux around it.
Sure.
And
I agree.
that's my recommendation.
Okay, and that's fine. I'm
Second.
just having a discussion on our board here, before we go to that joint board next week, or, you know, is whether or not we're going to proceed with, if the town says, no, we don't wanna have any part of that, then as a board, are we going to move forward? And I would say we offer them A or B. And because we have a GIS study that needs to be done. Now, that doesn't need to be done if we're doing just police. But if we're doing police and fire, then we have a GIS study and it's either going to be with the town included or with the town not included.
Yep.
But the village needs to do that. And if the town says fine, then we should say, okay, if the town doesn't want to be part of that, because the real issue is cost. If we got a $15,000 cost, we need to figure out where we're gonna pay for that as a village. If that's gonna be split, that's gonna be split with the town. If the town says no, we need to say, okay, are we gonna move forward with that GIS study? Because that's specific to the fire department. Now, that was never discussed in public safety, and we can table that to public safety. That's just gonna push that farther down the road.
Right.
And that's why I'm trying to have this conversation to keep this on the table, because I think it's an important conversation for us as a board to talk about. Now, if we're gonna move forward with this public safety building, then are we going to include, or should we include the GIS study and just move forward with that? And the real question is, if the town says no, then we need to move moving forward with it. Will we do that next week at the joint meeting? Or will we do that, and say, if you don't wanna do it, we're gonna go forward with it, but you're not gonna be included. Your area is not gonna be included in that.
Remind me again what this new study will give us on top of the old study we already had.
The GIS study tells you exactly where they look at where the proximity of where the central point would be for
The best spot for the building.
the building with regards to, response times, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the other items are size and
What
everything.
happens when they come back or they say it's some piece of land that is in a TID or something that we're not going to, isn't gonna be something we're gonna use?
So we'd have to consider that at that time. We don't know what that's gonna be until we
Don't
don't.
we already only have so many places that we would put it? I mean, really?
Well,
Do we really need a study to say we should put it out by the?
yeah, you do need a study because you ain't gonna get grant funding if you don't have a study on it. And most of the architects aren't gonna just come in and say, you know what? That's a great place for it over there. They're gonna say, we need to have a study, because then the granting and funding and everything like that would say, where's your GIS? Because we're not going to spend all this money on it unless we know for sure that it's no different than what we had to do with the TAP grant,
It's more of an insurance policy to ensure that we're accurately and, appropriately using taxpayer
Right.
money.
And it's based on growth projections and so on.
All that, a lot's in the study.
Is there, so I know we're really thinking about doing the fire and the police campus together and we wanna do that. Or is there any thought of breaking those up? Because the way it sounds to me, the path we're walking right now, we'll be lucky if we get this done in 5 years. We're going grants and all this and commissioning another study, because we've been talking about this since I've been on the board since I've started. And Public Works, we're moving forward with coming up with a plan to do something smaller, and we're gonna bring that forward. And it's independent of everything else, so do we wanna hitch our cart to fire and then the town?
It's a bit of a gamble, but I think that's gonna be the best,
I think that gets us the best outcome as a holistic community. I realize we aren't elected to
The town just. gets smaller and
represent
smaller,
the
so-
town, but we are going to outpace the town
What-
in short order. So I think those are great thoughts and questions. I think there's a lot of questions that still need good answers before we can, as a board, make good decisions. Is where I feel.
Well, then I
like we're a
guess
little
that
bit limbo.
feedback needs to come from the chief of like, how soon he needs this.
Yeah, I mean, we're under the gun because I believe that this ball's been kicked down the road for the past 15 years.
Maybe longer.
What's
We're
the
gonna go
timeline?
longer.
We're
What's the
behind the
timeline?
eight ball.
What's the timeline on starting, finishing, commissioning the study?
Well, that's a grethe question because we haven't even requested for pricing on that. Part of that request for pricing is going to be establishing a timeline for that. You know, the last time we had that proposal brought to us by, I forget the name of the,
Five bugles.
no, before five, not Five Bugles.
I remember that meeting very clearly.
Yeah, what's the name of the company?
I don't remember the company, but I remember what
We're
happened,
gonna
I
go-
remember stuff that happened.
We're gonna go past that, so, no, it wasn't Five Bugles, it was before Five Bugles.
There was other incidents.
It was, we talked about, multifaceted, fixing this, and what it cost. That wasn't Five Bugles.
It was.
That was
ISG.
what?
ISG.
ISG, thank you.
The comprehensive facility.
Exactly. So now,
So how are we gonna keep it from getting into a quagmire?
the answer to your question is about a timeline is, they offered a timeline of that too. But they also put some costs in there, and we were just not ready to take a bite at that apple. And it probably wasn't very properly proposed, and we need to move past that. In order to get any kind of funding from any other government agency, we're going to need to have a GIS at minimum. So if we were gonna move forward with any kind of a building, it would be prudent for us to say, let's move forward with at least getting the GIS study going. And then we can look at those other two timeline, or the other two items that need to be a study, and what kind of timeline it costs and whether or not, but I think minimum, if we're gonna include the fire department, then we should probably move forward with the GIS at least.
Where does that come from? Where would those funds come from? Like,
That's a good question.
general fund?
Andrew's on that, on that one, but yeah, that's a great question.
Cause we're already, I can't believe this stuff, the stuff I'm saying is I've been spending quite a bit. We need some of the TID funding to start coming through and cash flowing in order for us to start doing any of these large projects anymore, I should say.
Yeah. So
So that again lends to making it,
I'm only one person on his board.
that again lends to breaking it into smaller pieces of like, I realize we wanna go for this big. The moonshot of landing the fire and all, and the public safety and everything under one roof, but we gotta take off some more bites and do the police station. First and put it in our own, put it over here.
The greatest long-term benefit to the community, in my opinion, is for them to be together. And the most convincing evidence of that, in my opinion, was learning about the shared facilities that both departments can use and access in one building. So you're not paying for those to be in two different places. In conjunction with, I believe the Five Eagles report indicated around 80% of the calls both departments went to.
Yeah,
So that was the nail for me to go, this only makes empirical sense for them to be under one roof where they can easily communicate and generate reports and
training. to go down.
that there's a cohesion there that is incalculable. That I strongly support because it just makes so much logical sense to have them as a cohesive unit where the call percentage at 80% of both departments going. And then things like locker rooms, training facilities, maintenance equipment,
I
tools.
think the other aspect to
Fixing
that,
one roof instead of two.
I think the other aspect to it that we're missing is without the ability to handle the growth that we're having right now and some of the suggested items about growing and getting a adequate fire department, a lot of commercial industries and stuff like that are hesitant to move into an area without that kind of a, facilities for protection. They're looking for infrastructure, and right now, we got a lot of commercial commercial land out there that's sitting vacant. And I'm not saying that there's that opportunity out there, but I know if I was going to move into one of those areas, and I'm just speaking for me, I wouldn't come in here unless I knew I had some kind of security.
Maybe that's how we kept the data centers open.
Maybe,
Uh,
but that being said,
but we could, I'm not saying don't work on the fire department, stop working on it, we shouldn't, we're not gonna pursue that, I'm just saying like. If we wanna get these done and we wanna keep the. Yep, the other benefit is, maybe there is a benefit of keeping part of it separate, because it's not always easy to work with the town. And the pace is a little bit different, and
Well, maybe.
I'm not saying we wanna get, maybe to throw in and be bedmates on more stuff,
Well, maybe there would be a great benefit to causing this cohesion.
I really love your glass half full mentality, but I call it glass half clean instead of glass half full.
What it comes down to is we need to have a conversation with the township and bring all the stuff on the table there and get their opinions. From my time in the fire commission, that is the avenue that they're looking at as a co-oping project. So we have the properties.
And we haven't made it, but we haven't been able to make a decision.
That's the problem. Yes, we have.
well,
We need to have.
Maybe we'll make a
conversations.
decision this time.
Well, we have conversations and open the doors and try to stress.
We've been having conversations for years.
Correct, but has anybody pushed for it hard?
But there's new elected officials, Brandon.
Yeah, by the time this gets decided, there'll be there'll be other new ones. I mean, not on the town, obviously. That's
Yeah, no,
legacy-
they're gonna
Those
stay
are
like that.
legacy positions.
They'll stay in those roles for 30 years, so no, the town won't
The
have.
conversation has to be had on both sides, and this needs to be a conversation next week. And I think that we have the support of them over there to get it going and get this sooner than later. Because even as Doug knows, Mr. Clerk, this needs to get done. He knows the needs of the fire department.
I think both things can get done independently of each other.
well, here's my question. If, again, if you think both things can get done, are we looking to move forward
Two separate
with
studies.
with police first? Or are we looking to move forward together? Because what I was saying is the GIS study, if we're gonna be looking at doing a fire department, are we going to say, well, let's do the GIS study for the town? It's gonna be X amount of dollars. I'm not sure. I was thrown a estimate of 15 grand. That could be all wet. We don't know those firm numbers until we actually get that out, but do we say, let's ask for this, and if we don't get it, cause then you gotta select an architect. And then the architect's gonna have to take some time, and I'm being told, by people that's a couple years out at best as well.
Well,
So,
there's no harm in the RFP regardless.
right,
There's no cost to the RFP.
so moving forward with an RFP, and we say, do we want an RFP specific for the village and a specific for the town? Or do we wait for the town to,
I think we posed that question at the joint meeting, and if they say no, then we choose to move forward with our study.
so is that going to happen at that meeting then?
I don't know if we can officially vote that
Sure.
there.
Sure, we can vote at that. We just have to put an agenda item on there. And that's what I'm saying, either that
For that.
or do we say, I guess this is a question for you. Or do we say, this has got to be tabled until the following month on a joint meeting like that?
If it's noticed,
It's properly noticed.
I think.
I don't know if it's in the agenda, other than a request for RFP is on that agenda.
Yeah. You're gonna have to make sure it's on the agenda as an action item.
Just discussion, Eric. I don't think there's any motion, you know, up, all that stuff is put up for discussion, right?
So then there's another. What, 3 months before it goes before joint boards again? In front of fire commission.
We're saying that our board would move forward with the RFP.
Well, there's
for the
not, there's
GIS.
nothing for us to say, we can't change the agenda by next week, we can properly do that.
Yeah.
We get plenty of time.
And we can have the discussion to move things forward. So when we get to the next joint meeting, we have progress in between. Each board can move forward as a goal, if we communicate with their board, if they're gonna do a joint project,
I
just be in communication.
get that, Dave, but we've done this, we've been down this road before, like just.
Before is- Yeah, but before is before. You're dealing with right now, and that's what you gotta deal with right
I'm
now.
talking with the same boards right now. We agreed that we were going to transfer a road over into our
That's done.
jurisdiction. I know, but how long did that take?
Doesn't matter how long it's taken, it's done.
Past is past, can't deal with it, you look at the future, let's just move forward. Forget about personalities, everything in the past.
Pat, it doesn't have anything to do with personality.
Oh, I know.
We're talking purely on what got done, even though we agreed to stuff. So, let's request for quote, sounds good.
But your concerns are that. That
Inaction.
is.
Yeah. that we're gonna keep,
Basically,
we're gonna keep circling back to that.
We spend money and. So you know, if we move forward with any
Based
kind
on
of,
observations that I've had since being on the board, which is
And-
purely anecdotal, I guess.
Right, either way, we need to have a good discussion with them, so we know which way, if they're gonna buy in, or if they're not. We can't really I don't see the point of putting out for an RFP now, if we don't know exactly what we're asking for. If it's gonna be just for the police, or it's a police, public safety campus. So I think we need to wait for the town and have this discussion again next week.
right, but again, if the town says no, are we moving forward with the police?
We're definitely moving forward with the RFP.
For the police, or police and fire?
I say police and fire.
And a new police station. So
Pardon?
we definitely need them. So yes, if they don't want to work together for a campus, public safety campus, then yes, we should move forward with the police station.
Cause the
But that's
logistics,
the concern.
the logistics that I'm hearing about, and then we discuss next week is that the police would be, if that was in the same building, it would almost have to be in a townhome site type situation where you'd have a common wall or a lot line. And that side would be police and the other side would be joint owned or owned by,
You can divvy up the square footage.
Yeah.
That's accounting.
yeah.
But we're not joint owned. They would be leasing from us. Depends,
Well,
can't actually
it
join.
depends on how it lands. If
That's
they
all
rebuild
discussed.
on their property, then that could go a whole different.
That's a difference.
Right. Right.
So
That's what I'm saying is that at the end of the day,
I personally can't regard it in the village.
Well,
is there other municipalities that have,
jointly owned facilities.
is there other municipalities that have like a fire as a separate holding entity that are joint municipalities pay that fire department for that service?
Well, there's, fire districts all over.
That's what I'm saying. So it's a fire district and then they pay the fire district. So like Somerset and the town and the village could pay the fire district and the fire district could own the building.
Yes.
Yes.
That's, in essence, that's what happened in the fire district could actually either lease or sublease or have a portion or common wall where the police and fire could own that portion of the building. And that would be paid for by the village, if it's in the village area. We don't even know where this building's gonna be until we get the GIS study. That's my whole point. I mean, if we're moving forward with, and the fire district in that situation would have to be developed, correct?
Create that. Can be done.
Okay.
Like creating another LLC.
I'd like to
Potential.
It's another.
I got 6 of them.
And then there's
Easy peasy.
innovation grants that we could look at too. A bunch of different grants.
I'd like to make a motion, request for pricing, GIS study and, work at it as it comes forward.
Second,
For just police.
Request for pricing for a
Pricing and
for a GIS study.
Oh,
We got the pricing on it.
just for the study.
In the meantime, we'll fill in the blanks on what we're gonna receive.
Motion made, properly seconded to request for the GIS, request for pricing on the GIS study. And then we'll move forward from there. Any further discussion? The only discussion I have is that GIS study going to be with or without the town? Or will it be,
To be determined.
okay,
And will it be fire only or will it be fire and police?
well, GIS would probably be. Good question.
I think it would be both, but like Dave said, it's fill in the blanks after we get more information.
So motion to request for pricing for a GIS study. To fill in the blanks at next month's, or next week's meeting, right?
Correct.
Who is going to request this?
Well, it would be chief and both chiefs,
The chief,
both chiefs would make the request for pricing.
so it's gotta come from.
Both chiefs
And, okay,
would request for pricing. Is that? Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's correct.
Any further discussion?
do they? They're usually going to get quotes for this type of thing.
Well, Chief Trepchek was already working on a request for pricing. I think that is in the hopper. The real question, that the curveball that was come was the GIS. And that's where it kind of stagnated and we heard nothing. And that's why I put it on the board here for us to discuss it tonight, because I know we're supposed to be talking about it at the joint meeting, but I want to at least say, okay, we're moving forward with a GIS study. The real question is, do you want to be in it or you want to be out of it? Because their concern, I think, is cost. And where are we gonna budget for it? Well, our concern is the same way. We didn't have this on our budget at the beginning of the year. We're gonna have to figure that out. But that's for finance to sit down and discuss, right?
Yeah, and I'm more wanting to know who's gonna be responsible for it and if they've done something like this before, so.
Yeah.
That's purely where I'm
Yeah.
asking from.
Well, I'm sure Trepchek and both of our chiefs are pretty capable of, getting help if they need it.
Okay.
Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. We don't need to have a roll call.
They will with that. If they.
Next item on the agenda, crosswalk, sidewalk, and entrance of Joe Casey Park. I asked to put this on the agenda. We've all been copied on the request from change.org on it about a crosswalk, and public safety had actually a lady come in and give comment at their meeting. I was interested and I went down and I looked at that area. And I've talked with the engineers. Would you like, you've got a proposal that you gave 3 different options out. I think that went to the entire board, right? I'm gonna ask the question. No?
I haven't seen that.
Okay, so there was an option that was put forth, Chuck. I'll let you.
Yeah, so if, for those familiar with Joe Casey, it's in River Hills, right? And the park path terminates right at, what's that street? Aspen, thank you. And it's mid-block there. On the other side of the street, there's a driveway. And so looking at options as far as how you could potentially do that path. We suggest that you either just divert it a little bit to the south. And so then you could have a dedicated landing pad, truncated domes, connecting to the sidewalk on the other side of the street, just south of the driveway. Or because that's mid-block, and then also include like a light there just to improve the visibility, paint the crosswalk,
So
and the
is that-
signage.
Is that powered? Is there power there? We gotta run power? Is that,
We'd have to look at that, but there,
can it be solar powered?
yeah, and then those are things that we could look at. And then approach, so that's one option. And then that we can approach the TAP grant folks to see whether or not they'd be willing to allow us, since it's outside the scope of the original grant application, would they consider allowing us to add those costs to the project, because the
Chuck,
grant is 80-20, right? So.
we had discussed that a few months ago before this had even come up. Have you been able to make any progress on getting any communication with them in regards to
We had,
cover that fund?
I asked the gentleman in my office who's kind of PM in the project to look into it, and There's some miscommunication. He'll get an answer
I'd
tomorrow.
imagine he's got a lot of other things going on in regards to
It's-
the project. And
It's a simple question. I'll have an answer tomorrow.
how difficult would it be to incorporate this into some type of change order?
Not difficult at all. It's just a matter of the funding, you know, because
The
you're
question of
looking,
the change order is, are we paying 100% or 20%?
yeah, that's 100% or 20%.
So I think. we
And then
need
would
that-
you want a light or not, you know?
So I think we need that information before we can move forward with any type of decision at this point.
The one thing I would like, and I could provide a drawing too, but the other option would be to route it Joe Casey Park south down, to the next intersection there.
No.
And, I don't think that solves the problem. People heading north will still cross the street and use the driveway. They'll still probably use the driveway, even if we, you know, route the path a little bit south and then add
So
a landing pad. I think people will still kind of go kitty corner and kind of use that driveway. It's just,
so there's a
that's how
few
people are.
data points that I'd like to point to, so. You know, that park's been there for what, 20 years or so. I know we haven't had a lot of, we've had 0 fatalities out there. We have flagged speeding there before, and chief has put out increased enforcement as well as monitoring. Found it to be roughly 2% of the folks that drive through their speed at a rate of over 5 miles per hour over the speed limit. So I just wanna address the urgency with which this needs to be handled and just kind of tamp that down a little bit, like. We agree that it needs to be installed. We're looking into funding. Once we understand what percentage of the funding will be covered, we will take action. So I absolutely applaud the people who are engaged on this. We are engaged on it though, so. I think we need to have that. We need to know what the bill's gonna be before we can take any action on it.
And Bill, up for discussion, possible approval on it is the simple fact about, okay, if the TAP grant will not cover that, what's our options beyond that? Because it can't just stop there. Either it's gotta be additional signage or something. I know the lady is worried about encroachment onto her property. And that's what she expressed at the meeting when I watched it. And I understand her concerns about encroachment onto her property. As far as the pad between the two, we all know that that's public property and can be utilized by anybody. But, if we can't do the TAP grant and we can't do something, are we gonna drop this matter? Or is the matter still gonna get, you know, we need to figure out some kind of a crosswalk there because it's one of the things that was. It's not properly designed for a trail to just end in a road like that. I don't know why that happened, how it happened. I'm not gonna we're trying to undo that and fix it so that it makes sense. And I think the best option we can have is routing that path to the south and creating a crosswalk over there. The real question is if we can get it picked up, I would encourage us to get it picked up at 80% versus paying the whole freight. Otherwise, the only other thing to do is look at, can we actually just put a crosswalk at the other side and just extend that at a diagonal away from that lady, or can we go right onto her driveway?
Well, you know, portion of the driveway in the public right of way, you know, can be accessed by
Right,
anyone.
right. I agree. So, but.
And if you route it to the south, you know, yeah, some people going north may follow the trail down to the intersection and safely cross there. But the vast majority are still gonna just cross and
And I'm assuming this
Go this side.
property owner moved in after the park was built or the park was there when they moved in.
I don't know.
So you're-
Pardon? Within the last year, I live in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
and actually myself and my 7-year-old daughter have almost been hit by people coming down Aspen around the corner there by DP.
Yep.
Several times, not necessarily that they're speeding excessively. It's the distance between when you make it around the corner and where that path ends to cross the street. There's very little reaction time there at all. If there's a family with a stroller, if there's anything.
And that's going north on Aspen?
That would be Heading towards well, no, it's heading away from BP,
Coming-
Aspen into the
So you're
neighborhood.
going north on Aspen.
Yes, yes, sir.
So, so if that, so if we routed people to that intersection to the south, that would make it worse?
Mhm, it might. Mhm.
It might, I think, the more difficult thing and where the entire neighborhood has been having an issue with this, which is why it's kind of before you guys at this point. Is because everyone knows that, bottom 3 feet of that driveway in between the street and the public sidewalk is fair game for anything. That's where you have to cross, that's how you can access that sidewalk without going all the way to the end of the block on either side. Where the issue comes in is I know there have been at least 1 or 2 instances for sure. At this point, it may have happened more than that, where the homeowner has confronted a parent with their children about crossing just through that section of driveway that's between the sidewalk and the street. No one has gone up in their actual driveway that's in the property, that's their driveway. That I'm aware of, but it's creating tension within the neighborhood, because people are like, we're just trying to bring our kids to the park that's right here. And now there's all these issues that are coming up. And especially in front of young children, like, they don't need to see adults arguing over something that shouldn't be argued over. So I think that's why it seems like there's such a
I was,
necessity from the community to just get something.
I'm more concerned about the safety aspect, and my ears are all about safety, and, I mean, we wanna make sure our kids are safe and, when their parents aren't with them and stuff, but the issue of educating the homeowner, that's a separate issue, and we can deal with that, but you're saying that if we were to move that, because we were actually talking about, and one of the options with the engineers was to move that trail to the edge of where the homeowners association was,
Okay,
and then get it off of her land, which would be actually farther closer to coming down that corner, which causes a blind spot is what I'm hearing.
yep. So you're speaking about moving it to the corner where the actual stop sign is then?
No,
Negative,
You're
yeah.
talking the
Towards the
opposite.
BP,
Yep, towards BP,
towards
yes.
the BP.
Yep.
Would that create a safer or less safer?
I think it would just move the same issue, because then the people going towards BP would come around the corner and there'd be somebody right there. So I think no matter where you put it right there, it's the fact that it's right at a corner.
Well, it's in the middle of it, it's a middle of a,
straight.
right now, the path just
Mhm.
comes in the middle of a block. So there's no stop sign down over here, and we'd have to route the whole thing down along and to where that corner is, that intersection.
No, I understand what you're saying, but that's. I guess when you're physically in the neighborhood trying to navigate it. The southern corner where the townhomes are would be closer to that trail that actually goes into the park
Correct.
than the opposite, intersection, but it seems like that corner would still be the safety.
Sure.
I think part of the problem with this, Aspen has got sidewalk on one side of the street, not on the other side. And the park is on the opposite side with no sidewalk. So if these folks cross where the stop sign is, they are now in an area where there's no sidewalk to walk on. So their choices will be to go down the street, where I've seen several kids on electric scooters going frequently, or to make a 1 block farther over, 1 block up, and then come back to Joe Casey. Part of that issue is no sidewalk on the same side as the Joe Casey Park.
Thank you.
I was just gonna make a suggestion that, Bob and I review, come back with the funding at the next meeting and a recommendation on how best to handle that.
Good idea.
Is there a chance that we could potentially get some kind of, do we even have anything like this where we could put up as a temporary, where we can at least placard the thing about, because I'm trying to, looking at it right now here, is the corner that you're referencing to, sir, is that on the bottom of that screen or is that on the top?
As we're looking at it, yep, it would be on the bottom of the
Okay,
screen
so
at
that
the
would be-
intersection where there would be the stop sign already.
Okay, so if we were to move that trail just a little farther down to the south, that would actually create a more difficult, because now you're actually moving closer to that roundabout and creating potential of
And Plum Tree Lane is a private roadway. It does not belong to the village.
right,
So
right.
that's something to think about also.
So the safer option would be to figure out something going to the north.
I think the safer option is probably just to get rid of that path altogether.
I contemplated that myself.
Going at Uniport.
I totally
Yep.
contemplated that myself, is to eliminate.
We
the
need to
path.
get rid of that path completely.
Just going at Juniper Court, it plugs in there.
Yeah.
They can
Where's
just walk
Juniper Court?
Up one street to the north. The path now extends.
There's no
That-
sidewalks on Juniper
There,
Court.
but they can,
There's
it's
no-
not quite as, it's not, at least it's not as busy as that other way. There's only, what, 6 houses there instead.
Plus you have parking up there.
Pardon?
They have parking in the circle up there.
Well, and that connects, the trail connects to that now.
Yeah.
So they're already gonna be walking to the trail.
Maybe that's the best deal, is we just eliminate that altogether, and if they want to access that, how would the individuals access that trail system from the far side over there?
They'd have to go up Juniper. And they would go in that way, or the other trailheads that meet up to it on the other side of the street further north, there's another one.
I mean, people are still gonna use that driveway regardless. And they have rights to.
Yeah, but I'm talking the safety aspect of it, when you come up over that, as if I live in the neighborhood, I think I'm probably a neighbor, I think you live on the corner.
Yep.
Sweet Toyota, by the way. So I think as you come in and you get up to speed and then you go over that hill, moving it north or even south a little bit, like both ways. If it moves south, your visibility drops, it goes downhill. If you move north, you're still accelerating, so. Cutting up Juniper isn't like crazy busy
Well,
as that Aspen is, and there, we have problems on all inbound roads in every.
there's an opportunity to better that, even if it was, I thought about the same thing, so we just eliminate that trail back over there, but that's not gonna stop anybody from, that's been in that area from crossing across the road and going in there. The only thing you have is a trail system that they're just gonna be walking across the grass. It's public right away there. So maybe you try to create the best possible, and maybe it's moving it further up that way. Chuck, I don't know if your thoughts are, but instead of going to the south, maybe put something together and see if they'll approve it going to a little farther to the north, in the middle of that. Gives a little better sight line.
Yeah, why don't Bob and I look at it and come back with some recommendations.
Second.
So we have a recommendation next month.
Yes,
Are we putting that through? Can we put that through committee, Public Works Committee?
I think that's a grand idea.
Yeah.
But this one kind of slipped through the cracks because I was. I was on recreation.
I'll make a motion to have Chuck and Bob
So
put together a
recommendation,
recommendation to Public Works to deliberate and bring to the board.
well, we're still gonna, just so I understand, your motion is to still maintain some kind of a crosswalk there?
Nope.
Come up with a recommendation
Come up
for
with
this, what's the recommendation for just,
Whatever they think is the right way to handle this.
We'll let Public Works handle that.
It'll come in.
motion made to forward to Public Works with a recommendation from the engineer.
Second.
Yep.
We're, sorry,
Motion, I'm just confirming it more. To forward to Public Works, motion to forward to Public Works with a recommendation from the engineers for a resolution to the matter.
Correct. Senior second.
Chris had a second, I think Chris beat the second.
Motion made, seconded. Motion made, seconded to, forward the matter back to Public Works with a recommendation from the engineer and Public Works Director. Any further discussion? The matter should come before us next month with a recommendation.
To Aspen, the lady right across the street.
The only other discussion I have before we approve this is, the only question I have before we approve this is, are we gonna need to put anything out there to deal with the safety issue, or are we sufficient with what we have right now?
I think in the meantime, they can cross up to Juniper right now, like if this hasn't,
I'm talking about like cones or something out there for
barricade.
Running or using for.
We'll figure it out, we'll figure it out.
Is that played one of
Maybe
those
signing.
portable ones?
No, we don't have any.
Speed bump.
Speed bump?
Put speed bumps
No,
on.
no, speed bumps are not the answer. No, they're not.
Let us look at it first.
Yeah,
Motion made and seconded to forward to Public Works with a recommendation from the engineer and Public Works Director at the Public Works meeting. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay. Motion carried. Like to see if we can get something out there, at least in the meantime, so to ensure that there's, especially if it's properly signed and everything like that, we should be okay. And they're not seeing a bunch of speeders. I guess we'll just have to hope and pray that nothing happens before then.
Well, they have an access, now there's a second access to the north, that path is, you can get to it.
Path on the north there.
Yep, built Juniper. Yep. So we're,
That's under construction right now.
oh, it's still used there.
Oh, yeah, they're walking on dirt.
Oh, yeah, they're using it.
They've been working on the other one for that also too, I'm just saying.
Usable, people are using it.
Next item is traffic signage on Main Street, traffic safety signage. We've received emails both at Public Safety and at Public Works and I asked to put this on the agenda. Because, I think we're getting a lot of requests for, special things, and I guess I'm gonna ask the attorney on this. In other municipalities, if you have special needs children or individuals that are hard of hearing or autistic or other matters that are, in consideration of disabilities, is it an obligation of the municipality to act upon these requests, or is it something that needs to be written in ordinance, or what's the other municipalities and what's our legal requirements?
They're treated as requests. They're not obligations. You don't have a legal obligation to do that. But the better the community, I think most people try to honor those requests.
I would definitely support honoring requests like this, being a family member that has a special needs child. It's a request, and our citizens are the owners of our village. And she doesn't come here with a errant request, she has a direct need for the request. And as I see in the township, where I'm referring to my grandson, who is special needs, they honor it too. I think it's our duty to honor a special needs child.
Well, I'm completely with you on that about honoring people's requests, but the real concern that I have is at what point if a person makes a request, we take them on a case by case, and where do we draw the line? Because there's been special needs children in our community since I've been around here 26 years ago.
Mhm.
And there's been no signs stating anything that there's a special needs child on that. We know as a community that that's the case. Now, actual enforcement, or if somebody wants to put up something, I put it up over here, slow down, there's children playing. I put out the little slow guy every year for the ball fields on back my hands.
Mhm.
I do that because I don't ask my municipality to do that. I do that because I know that's the right thing to do. And there's nothing that I'm saying, or I don't think we as a board should say that you can't put up a sign saying, hey, I'd like children, please slow down, or caution. My neighbors on Raymond Street put up children at play, slow down. We respect that, the village doesn't tell them, take that sign out, because, it's on our easement,
We all get signed in line. do you get sign blind too? Like we see the sign over and over again.
Yeah.
And we just don't see it anymore. So if we put a permanent sign up. Sign blind, you know, you'll become blind to it. So it's probably better each time they come out.
What behavior will the sign modify? The thing that so for me, obviously, I support everyone with special needs and any type of handicap. But from a practical standpoint, what behavior is gonna change by seeing a sign? So when I think of it, I drive, I see that sign, am I supposed to turn my lights on? Am I supposed to like drive slower? Like what's the expected outcome of it? And if I don't follow the sign, is there going to be some sort of repercussions? Because we have speed limit signs all over the village. And I'm telling you that people do not follow those signs.
We don't actually have many speed limit signs on Main Street.
So it comes down to it,
It's
as individual, what behavior you have.
Electronic.
So an individual sees the sign, it's like, okay, takes note of it, and then should have cautionary behavior in between it. In construction, we use many signs, many barrier locations. It's up to the individual to be aware. So if you put something up, it lines them. If we buy a green cone to stick on the side of the road off the curb, beware children playing or something, I mean, it's better than nothing. Most people
What I'm
don't,
fine with
most
any
people don't
individual
obey.
purchasing that. Like, I don't know why does the village need to purchase that?
If one of our owners comes to us and asks for something, we should at least bring it here and have a discussion if we are right now.
Mhm.
And I do feel that it is a permanent thing that doesn't get towed, doesn't get removed.
Well, I mean, the child's gonna grow up too, like eventually.
Correct.
they're not gonna live there.
Correct. Correct.
So what are other municipalities on this?
Well, when you see them, you see, deaf child, you see, you see blind child.
But is there a threshold at some point in time, or is it just basic on they respond to the needs when they're
I
provided?
mean, you have to look at it, I think, on a case by case basis, and the purpose of the sign is just to make people aware that if you see the sign, maybe, look a little bit closer instead of just going down the road and listening to whatever you're listening to.
We used to have a sign, when they redid Main Street, they had a sign that had the speed limit. Right when you come into town. And that got hit. And that's gone. That was, cause I used, when I drive to the town with my lawnmower, I got 9 miles an hour going down the hill. So, but that maybe is something that we might need to look at too, is, we welcome all of our people here, watch your speed and let somebody know. I know that's a good way for our citizens to be able to gauge how fast people are going into town when that thing's going on, because I've been told numerous times by our friends and neighbors on, up here on Spring Street that, yeah, it's 35 miles an hour they're going, I catch them every time, so
Well,
that might be something for us to
sign needs to go
consider.
hand in hand with enforcement.
Right, agreed, but you can't enforce something if you don't know how fast they're going.
Yeah, and that's getting off into no, you can still enforce. You can still enforce law even though the driver doesn't know how fast they're going.
No, I'm
The
talking
cops
about
can
the individuals are not gonna be able to let them know that having problems unless they know they're going over the speed.
Gotcha.
That's what I'm.
Well, I mean, when you're going, anyways.
A little off the case here. But we had an individual come and present an issue. And out of courtesy, she's come here and asked us if we put up a sign. I'm in favor of granting her wish and putting up that kind of a sign. I don't know how to word it verbally, but to put up a sign, maybe a different color sign. To at least as drivers see it, take caution, slow down, or whatever they wanna do. It's in their hands.
Let me ask
If
you,
we have a child get hit by chance, they're gonna be hit with a serious fine.
one other question, was that on these municipalities for deaf children and stuff like that, that they put up, because we had one in the old town that I lived in. It was a deaf child and, he grew up and they eventually took it down, but when they moved, but, does the municipality pay for that, or is that something that is kind of, split between, cause like if we have sidewalk improvement and stuff, we have in our ordinances to, that we can, if we can, charge the landowner for stuff like that, so is that something that, if they wanna put a sign up, maybe we say, okay, we'll put a sign up, but this is a cost for doing that. Because I have
a weird precedent though, because then you get a bunch of people wanting all kinds of different signage potentially. I think when the citizen came and addressed the committee on that issue, one of the key things that I felt she was hammering in on was speed. People speed through there all the time. I think it really behooves us to consider addressing that as a primary.
I think that was addressed, and if I remember right, listening to the report of the chief, that he is exercising different enforcement and education throughout the town, and that was one of the areas. And I guess the real question is for us to consider. Obviously, Public Works has said we'll address the issues as they come up to us, or I should say, public safety. So police will address the issue as it comes up, and they'll do enforcement actions in those areas, which they're doing right now. The sign issue really kind of comes down to is somebody asks for a sign, do we put the sign up, or do we say, listen, you know, at what point do we actually, because they did make a request for a sign in that area too, and you know, I don't disagree with the arguments that Jessica's bringing about sign blind and everything else. You said speed signs are minimal
Yes,
at that area, and I don't want to have signs on every corner, you know, I think that clutters up our town too. You know, but
I would be all for the digital sign that shows you your speed.
Yeah.
I think that makes a lot of sense because
with the speed limit poster right underneath it,
Nope.
right above it.
my question,
well, it tells you blinking, you're going.
Going over.
did we get any insurance reimbursement for that when they took that down on that plate there? I
It's
wonder.
been hit, knocked over 3 or 4 times. So it just became, mangled mess and
Yeah,
I,
which is why we're removing it,
yeah, and
Where was that one?
right in the middle island.
in that island.
People like to challenge.
Isn't the island getting removed?
You say that with a dead face, deadpan straight face. Sorry.
But I mean, also not, the other thing in regards to signs, there's other things we can do to curb behaviors besides just putting up signs. Like we can make our tickets more expensive. We can make them really hurt. We can make different area. We can make our tickets so from 1 to 2 is something, from 2 to 5 is something. Like there's different ways to curb behavior. And I think we can see right now that signs aren't working. So we can spend all the money we want in the world on signs. And it can come out of whatever budget we
Let's raise
want.
more money to. get
But-
signs.
But yeah, that's the thing that's got a little bit frustrating from my side of this is it's like we have public safety. You guys come to us and you tell us we have to put signs in that we haven't budgeted for. And I already have a tight budget. We all have a tight budget. And then it's like, we need to do this right now. And I just, yeah, I struggle with having to just jump blindly and do this when it's like, well, what else are we doing on this side? What else is public safety doing? Because it feels like the can just getting kicked over to be like, well, we're gonna put the sign, public works, take care of it.
Well, you know, that's the part of being a government, a municipality. When we have a pothole, we fix the pothole. When the pothole is deep enough, people scream enough about it, and we fix the pothole.
Agreed, but I don't
But here's the
say
issue.
something on my agenda, I'll put something on my agenda, and then I say public safety, you comes out of your pocket and you fix it.
That's true, but we all have a budget, and that's why we're having this discussion.
Right.
And we had this discussion so we can you know, everybody said, yeah, those trustees, they deliberated this thing over signs until they were blue in the face and then decided we're gonna put one sign up, but I mean, or they don't. You know, I don't know what that is, but having this discussion here is where it should be had.
Mhm.
And that's why I'm trying to get because I don't want it to be, I prefer it to be something as easy of, well, you know, we're gonna act enforcement, and if they wanna put a sign up, they can put a sign up in the median or something like that. Rather than us putting a sign up for every time somebody wants a sign put up. You know, they want signs up at Joe Casey Park to highlight Joe Casey Park. Do we put signs up for crosswalks? Do we, you know,
But again, another thing in both these instances is like the person who moves in to where they're at on Main Street, moved into where they were at, knowing they had this child with a condition with, I absolutely feel for 100%. I'm not trying to come at this from like a malicious angle. But they knew what they were moving into. The lady who moved into the house across the street from a park, she knew what she was moving into. So we're discussing it, and
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure that, you know, sometimes I feel like stuff gets a timing put on it where it's like, this has to act on it right now, and it's like, you have to accept as an individual, like, you took on some of that risk, like, no one made you move to where you are, and I'm more than happy to help support whatever, but like, I mean, from a realistic angle, but we can,
So we're addressing the enforcement aspect of it because that was already put forward. So public safety has kind of already put their dollars and means towards that and enforcement. And the real question is, are we gonna do anything for signage on the other end of it or not? That's what I'm talking about, because this
we
is
wanna see if the.
let me finish, Brandon, first. Let me finish first. This is not going to end with just this one sign on Main Street and the sign request. We're gonna get this over and over and over again. And what I'm trying to understand is what this board and I think for staffing too, is what's the board, what's the community going to tolerate? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Now, you can
What
speak.
should we be doing?
Right. I think public safety has already addressed the issue. They said we're gonna start enforcement of speed and monitor the situation in that area. And now is Public Works going to address the situation, or do Public Works and Public Safety both? Because in the report that I heard from Chief was, it's gotta be kind of like the board, public safety. It shouldn't just fall on public safety and the police to make the decision. And does it mean public director and chief need to decide and say, yes, we're recommending a sign here along with the engineer? I don't know. I don't have that answer. You tell me as a board, is that the best way to go? Or do we just say, yep, you get a sign, and yep, you get a sign, and yep, you do enforcement? I don't know.
What were the results of the increased enforcement? When did that happen?
He's done partials.
It's ongoing?
Go ahead, Chris.
One at a time.
It's ongoing. I think increased enforcement is helping the speed limit, but it's not making people aware that there's a special needs child there.
Or, my opinion, to slow down.
Overall, they just need to slow down even
Speed is
more.
the issue.
Like, they're not going the speed limit, and that's what he's finding in his study is people are not going the speed limit. They're going much faster than they should be.
And
They're having people speed under a ticket warranted excessive rate and waving at them.
Yes, basically.
Backdoor officers,
Well,
it's
and
obnoxious.
I think it's a part that the
You were chasing
the
a
public
rabbit
doesn't
with
even
your
know
guys.
that
Google
the speed
Maps
limit
does the
is on.
speed on everything. Google Maps does the speed
So-
on it.
When you come down the hill and the Quick Trip, there's one 5 mile an hour speed sign.
And then there's
Then
another one.
there isn't another speed sign until you get out past the amphitheater.
Correct.
So here's what I would suggest. Aren't all of our village streets 25 or
No,
less?
they are all different.
So are they 25 or less?
No, some are 30,
We're
Number 35.
some are 35, some are 30.
on
They're all-
It's on the county highway.
our village streets.
They're all-
Village streets are all
The
25.
village
Sorry?
street-
Everything's 25. That's
Or less, or less.
village jurisdiction.
Unless you're going,
So 25 or less on village streets, right?
unless you're going,
Because the reason I say is you got school districts, right?
Well,
That they drop to 15.
restricted.
because it's 30 miles an hour up.
So maybe we put,
One sign on every entrance.
well, I was gonna say, on our incoming, we put a nice big sign up saying, we respect all of our citizens. These are our signs and,
Well,
you know, and their
I
ordinance.
think you just say 25 or 25.
Street signs are, you know, all in village streets are 25 and are heavily enforced. I see it all the time when I come into, you know, municipalities say, we enforce our speed limits. And I monitor my speed because
So we gotta start writing,
they'll pull you over.
At a
we gotta
certain
start
point,
writing more tickets then.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
but we've
and
answered
make
that.
them hurt.
We've answered that situation of speed. Then, do we answer,
That's the
if
primary.
we have a deaf child move into town, we have an autistic child move into town, we got, you know, are we gonna address this on a case by case? And if we do, that's fine.
I'd much rather address the speed. I think addressing the speed will help everybody, will help every kid with special needs. Every kid who doesn't have special needs, every person who walks on the street. And that that needs to be changed by. You know, when I used to drive through Osceola as a kid, you used to know, you go 25 or they bust your ass. So. It's not the same as it used to be, but you knew when you came into town, you slowed down because that was your reputation. Obviously, we don't have that reputation.
Yeah, I get passed everywhere. I'm a former traffic court judge and I pay very strict attention to traffic signs. And I get passed everywhere, everywhere in the city. In the
I've
village.
been passed on Main Street here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
And so it's a real problem of non-enforcement. But I do appreciate the fact that we've got a special needs child who's really in the target area for our downtown. In Main Street downtown, right there is busy for lots of reasons. There's lots of commercial stuff there. And I don't see that the putting up a sign, maybe not autistic child, but something about busy pedestrian traffic, something other than, because I agree that, you know, I lived in a place that there was a deaf child sign. The deaf child sign was up for 26 years. And it's so, but another kind of a sign alerting people that they're coming into strict enforcement, multiple pedestrian issues, multiple pedestrians, something other than a sort of simple sign. But I appreciate that this is happening on a really critical part of our city. And we're trying to get more commerce there. We're trying to get more activity there. That's what ought to be highlighted in addition to more enforcement and strict and higher fines.
And I would just like to point to one thing that has been put in there that did not rise to an agenda item, was that the chief and Bob did work together to get at least flags down there, because we did get a complaint that people weren't stopping, so we were able to work together and at least get that up. Yeah.
At the stopwatch,
Yep.
good.
So we noticed there's an issue.
We don't have, yeah.
I would support a sign with the speed limit on it over supporting the
Autistic sign.
signage for the
Special needs.
special needs, because I think it's gonna get that kid more safety than the sign.
My question is, maybe it doesn't, I get here, but I think as a board, if there's a report, if there's a request or there's an issue with that we as a community need to say that there, you know, I have no problem making a motion to provide Public Works with some signage, not just one, but some signs that say that speed enforcement is, you know, being, you know, 25 mile an hour or less with speed enforcement in this area. And that they can put them up at their discretion when they have issues like that. You put them up and they enforce it, and maybe they start changing some of that.
So the sign would say speed enforcement rather than.
Speed limit, 25 mile an hour with strictly enforced, you know.
All
and
village roads are posted 25, so
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no wiggle, there's no wiggling out of it.
And then when they put it up and it's enforced. Then enforcement can go, see that sign right there? We put that up because we needed to.
And pick up the tickets.
Yes, I was just gonna say,
Well,
we can chat in public safety with
Right.
people about maybe increasing the fee.
You know, there was just a request on that was made in finance and we approved it, I think, just this year. So maybe we'll look at it again
Yep.
next year
It is
for,
next year, yeah.
for municipality, you know, speed limit enforcement and fines. So I'm fine with that.
So I see how you haven't driven in Minnesota a lot where they've increased their the price of their speeding tickets. And notice that they're driving in a 60 is 70, and a 70 is 85. And
That's because the cops aren't enforcing it.
Right. So,
I see people pull over all the time, but
If people are getting away with it, if they didn't get away with it, they wouldn't do it.
you know, it's even here, even our speeds are up over here. People aren't respecting the road. And that's a
I'm perfectly
breakdown.
fine with that lady. doing some kind of,
Whatever personal sign you want.
personal sign, I'm not opposed to that. Anybody in this community, if they feel the need to put some kind of deal on, I mean, for me, if it was my child and I'm not, for me, I would say, there's a lot of things that I could do as a homeowner to protect my children. And if one of them is putting a sign out and I wanted to do that, I'm not gonna have government tell me not to. And if I wanna put a chain link fence up, that's on me, but I say, if she wants to put something up, we can give as a, as a governing board, at least the tools to be able to put up, more, speed signs, 25 miles an hour in all streets, and will be strictly enforced, something of that lines. And Public Works can put them up at their discretion with recommendations from public safety.
So you're talking.
And should represent.
Right.
That's a motion.
You wanna put a dollar amount on that?
No, I would put, we purchased 5. I don't know, how many signs you think we need, Bob? 5?
Road in the town.
Would you wanna put 5 up, or do you wanna, what are you thinking to have in your shed in case you needed to put them up? 5, 10?
Why don't we do 6?
You want 6?
Well, how many inroads are there? How many roads into town?
You want
Everybody just
10?
one for each road.
So we get into a dollar figure, it's gonna be a budgeted item and we'll just have to figure out how to pay for it, but really we need to look at pay,
We probably have things in our operating budget to buy signs, we always do. So,
would 10 be sufficient?
yeah, sure,
100.
yes.
My motion is for 10 signs.
So moved.
10 signs, all street, village streets are 25 miles an hour and are strictly enforced.
Okay, this item was on a specific sign,
But a motion made and seconded, right?
Second.
but it's
Okay,
a different.
that's 10, that's 10 signs, discussion, now your discussion.
Okay, that, the original discussion was a special needs child sign.
Correct.
And we switched it into a comments and discussion on putting up speeding signs.
That's correct.
So is this a separate promotion, or are we gonna look at this first issue that is on the agenda
The issue
and address it itself also?
it says traffic safety signage on Main Street. The signage on Main Street is going to be 25 miles an hour on all village streets, will be strictly enforced. That's gonna be the safety sign that we put up, but we're not, with the caveat, we're not precluding her from putting up any kind of additional signage on that area for her needs. And I don't see us doing that for any person out there. If you have a special needs child or anything like that, and you care to inform the public of that and to ask them to slow down in your area. But as a municipality, we're saying our streets are 25 miles an hour. We're gonna strictly enforce them. We'll get the signage out there and we're gonna ask Public Works or Public Safety and the chief to enforce the ordinances. And we'll address the fines at our next deal. That's the best that we can do.
Safest way to keep everyone safe is.
That's the best that we can do. I'm just saying that. And if you wanna put a motion out after this one, you're welcome to do that. Okay, and if it gets a second, we'll act on it. But I'm saying for this one, this is how we're addressing, or this is what,
So we just changed again, the issue was her request.
the issue is a traffic safety signage on Main Street. She requested a autistic child sign
Okay.
be put out there and,
The agenda was, I think it was worded wrong there. That's fine.
yeah.
There's a
Any
motion
further,
and a second.
any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, all opposed, nay? Nay, okay. Anything else you want to bring up in regards to traffic safety?
I would like to say, that I'd like to make a motion that we do address an issue from our residents. And we put some kind of a sign that is warning that of a special needs child in this area. And we post a sign for this request that she made to us.
That's a motion.
Motion.
And how long is that sign gonna be up for?
I would say that till she's of legal age. Or they move.
Will they notify us if they move?
I would assume, if we request it.
Motion's on the floor,
I'll second the motion.
motion made and properly seconded. For, special needs, what
Hey, maybe Paul can get better wording if it's not, but I would say have special needs,
special needs child in this area, please,
use caution,
use
whatever.
caution.
That sounds like.
Have something like that? I mean, is that something that we'd have to have special made or?
I'm sure they have signs.
Okay.
They're not expensive.
Huh?
They're not expensive.
That's not an unusual.
And then we.
So,
request the homeowner.
$64,
Yeah, that's what they're looking at.
slow autistic child at play,
Well, it's 99, I'll give it a little extra.
I would like it in yellow or even blaze orange.
okay, motion's on the floor, any further discussion? I didn't realize they were $35.
So just to request that we remove it when the homeowner leaves. Or when it's due loan.
I would I would suggest that that homeowner would notify us if they were to relocate, so we would have them, please remove.
But the complexities of autism don't end at age 18, so.
No,
That's why we asked it when they move,
Right.
because it's not, yeah. So your motion at 18, you might want to reconsider
I
that.
would say, okay, then when they move. Because they don't make. Special needs individual, my family will not
Okay.
ever be able to, well,
Sure,
And I think given, I support this because given the fact that this is on Main Street, which is a high traffic. Boom, boom, gotta stop here, gotta stop there. I think this is an appropriate request. I wouldn't necessarily approve it out on a quieter village street, but this is a high traffic street. So I
Make people aware.
I support it.
that's why I think in bright yellow or blaze orange.
okay,
Draw high attention.
Which is different than any other sign on the street, which would, at least for, until sign blindness kicks in, people would notice it.
Correct.
bright yellow or blaze orange.
Ask a question. If you do consider the village putting up signs, how am I supposed to instruct my street folks where to put these? What's the duration of this area? Is it both sides of the street or just one?
I guess you'd have to go to both sides, catch both way traffic.
How long is this?
How long is what?
Do we
Let's double cut.
Do we put a sign up that is, you're beginning to enter, whatever area, and then another sign saying you are now past that area?
This isn't something that changes the speed limit or changes the enforcement. This is just an alert sign.
I
One on
understand
each.
Bob, I would
that,
say
but I don't know exactly.
100
where-
feet each direction.
And just her lot,
Hun-
the width of her lot?
I would say 100 feet. Take center of a lot and go 50 feet and center of a lot and go 50 feet the other way.
So 50 foot on this side, on egress and egress on each side, right? Egress and,
Well, as you're coming into town, one there, as you're coming out of town, one there.
right,
It's gonna take two signs.
right. On the egress and.
Yeah,
egress.
and with her lot sort of in the middle.
Right,
And where they should be placed might relate to what else is on the street.
so between 50 and
You
100
run
feet.
into an Apple River sign or, I don't know, you have to go out and look at it.
Determined by Bob.
Yeah.
No.
He does not want that decision.
He's asking that
He's
question.
asking for the specific.
So they're saying
If you wanna walk down, go up there, Bob.
Well,
Walk out, we'll make a
The
decision.
problem I have with it is I'm just really afraid, I'll be honest with you, is this is gonna create a false sense of security for this homeowner, that the signs are gonna be ineffective and you're gonna be, like Jessica alluded to, you're gonna forget that sign's there. There was a deaf child area on County Road I for
Ever, a whole life.
I had to drive out there to see if that sign was there.
It's gone. It's gone.
It's gone.
It's been gone for a while.
But she knows, when she came before the public safety or public works, she understands that. Signs are only temporary, people do get sign blindness, but at least it's going to give her a little bit of security that at least. There are tentative people reading signs, I mean, there are people that obey speed limits and obey signs, my wife is one of them. You know, oh, look at here, Dave.
We don't need to get
We can,
too
I'd
far.
like to
But
make
the
a
point-
motion to call
Just making my-
call the question,
Making my, that,
Call the
those are
question.
data, those are data.
Question been called for.
call the question.
There's,
Under Robert's Rules of Order, a question's been called for. That motion would be on the floor for a question. This is calling the question. All in favor of calling the question, not voting on the motion, but calling the question, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Hi.
All opposed, say no. No.
I'm sorry, I guess.
That
I'm
means
not-
if you call for the question, that means you end debate. So if you vote for this, you're ending debate. If you don't vote for it, you're asking to continue debate.
I guess
the
I would like
motion-
one more question.
Huh?
I would like to ask one more question.
Well, I'm saying the question's been called for, so you would want to vote nay then for the question, okay? So all in favor of calling for the question, signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay. Okay,
Aye, sir.
all in favor, raise your hand for the question. 1, 2, 3, 4. All opposed? 1, 2, 3. Okay, question's been called for. All in favor of the question for bright yellow or blaze orange sign to be provided, 2 of them for autistic child on Main Street within 100 foot of center. Is that right?
Correct.
Is that, who seconded that? Is that right for a second?
Yes.
On Main Street
Yeah.
of the address in question?
I was wondering, can we have one sign that's double sided, one post? A sign on each side. So that way you're seeing it both directions, rather than across the street.
I don't think it does the same. But I
But
mean,
you're actually, then you're diverting your,
I thought we called the question.
My bad. I thought we called the question.
so
All right.
question been called for and it's proper in front of us. So all in favor, I was trying to clarify the motion there. All in favor, we're gonna call roll call vote here on this one. Chris Dubak,
Aye.
Caleb Garn, Brandon Crone,
Nay.
Jessica Flirt,
Nay.
Janice Stewart,
aye.
Dave Wallner,
Aye.
Donnie Kern, aye. That motion is carried. Next item, anything else to come before us on this? Next item is making a motion to go into close, discussion possible approval of developers agreement amendment, Lines at Prairie.
That was your email, Bob, before the meeting?
No,
No.
this is in the
This isn't.
packet. It's like page 35 in the PDF right now.
Oh.
This is back before us again?
It's back to the conversation we had, I think at the last board meeting, to change the
What was
wording
changed?
on the contracts for.
I got,
Yeah.
that was under unfinished business. I got nothing in unfinished business.
It's the last thing on the.
That was them changing the wording, that was them changing the wording about us having only approving Capstone as a builder.
Yeah.
Yep, they changed the wording to,
Right there.
So really, the request here is to, originally, you had an approved builder and they couldn't sell just vacant lots, without putting up a house. And then you sold to the homeowner. What this would do would just basically get rid of all the restrictions and they can sell vacant lots to anybody.
I thought we made this a decision last time. I thought we,
You tabled it.
okay, thank you
Yeah,
for the
and,
reminder.
Again, I'm fully in favor of them bringing forward this is a very difficult subject. Because this is something that this board has inherited and we have a very congested pile of homes in that development. And that's why that language, I think, was kind of put in there because of who we're dealing with. And that's why we were comfortable with Capstone or its affiliates being the ones that we're going to be working with that. Now, if what's wrong with them bringing forth a list of builders to us for us to be able to vet before we start approving them selling to these other home dividers, and then we give them approval as they submit them to us.
yeah, and the way I'm reading this is the way they're making that, so it's not the builders we had issues with, which was the people who are the subdivider and the.
It just says any builder not associated.
Any other.
Well, just
builder not
because,
associated or affiliated with subdivider, so that would say like. It can't, they can't do it, which are the people who are the problem.
well, it's not just them, it's anybody that could be a problem. There's nothing wrong with us vetting individuals coming into this congested area and say, okay, they're a reputable builder. Yep, you can buy some homes in this town. They wanna say, open up to anybody except for just one person or anybody that's affiliated with them. Well,
We do
that-
have a builder. if you
I'm sorry,
scroll down.
I'm sorry, this is a discussion with the board, okay?
Scroll down, though, you'll
I'm
see
sorry,
a builder
this is a
name.
discussion with the board. So, we're talking about is allowing those individuals to be able to be vetted by the board.
So JP Brooks would be the builder.
Correct.
So JP, is there any reason we can't put? To satisfy what Donnie's saying, is there any reason we can't put JP Brooks in there or?
We're fine with that.
Okay,
That's what we were told to do. We came back with the builder and we
Okay.
have an offer from that builder.
okay, so JP Brooks is the builder,
Correct.
okay. Thank you for that clarification.
They're being new to the board. Do we have a vetting process to look at builders? Since in the past, we had a history of builders that underperformed. Do we have anything in place or in process?
We have the
How we
building
vet
code.
these builders?
They built into Richmond, Hanover, Prescott, one of
We
our
don't bid.
builders.
Not that I know. I don't think we do.
How many lots are we talking about? Multiple?
Yeah, right now, the 19 on Bruce Larson Way would be the 19 that they're looking to purchase. Capstone is already.
So
purchasing
19 lots, 19 total?
The Capstone's already building on the two cul-de-sacs, which is 20 lots in that phase. The original phase did not have this language in it when Capstone built the original phase. This is new just to this addition.
Well, either way, we were able to come back with the builder that you've chosen. To work with. Everything I'm looking at online does it. Legit, but. 4.1. Google reviews. 94 reviews.
Do they all come in on the other day, same time?
So do they,
But those, are those the ones out of Maple Grove, Minnesota?
Correct.
do they self-perform or they contract out?
What do you mean by self-perform? Like,
Do they build their own homes?
well, they have subcontractors they hire to do certain.
So they're just paper contractors
So
that
Every
hire
builder,
all sorts.
every builder hires subcontract. They don't build everything. They hire concrete guys, they hire
Well,
framers,
it's-
they hire roofers.
But are they legitimate companies that are self-performing?
Yeah, they build hundreds of homes a year. I mean, they're a legit company, just
So
like
that
Capstone.
Carpenters, of course, electricians, any licensed trade, has regulations on it.
I would
but
say
any-
most of the people are subcontractors that are not direct employees of the company.
They operate no different than Capstone does.
Correct. Capstone does the same thing.
And I mean, if they're operating in Minnesota, they're actually used to operating to more stringent standards.
Correct. Over there, Minnesota, it's 10 times harder than Wisconsin to do this stuff, so.
And I will say I have been in contact with Tony in regards to some of the preferred builds and that are going on, and they've got different contractors in too, and they're doing a
better
much,
job.
much tighter ship than they were. I have not walked through those houses, but I've heard. I would never want.
Okay, so we're looking at 19, if we put the language in there with JP Brooks,
Bob,
I
what's
don't know,
your,
you need to identify them.
Well, you've identified, I mean, the original.
I would rather keep Capstone Homes or its affiliates and JP
Oh,
Brooks or their
okay,
affiliates,
yeah,
what I was
I
saying.
mean, just-
Is that,
Yeah.
and if we have additional, because what's to say that Capstone, it should, if we already. The developer's agreement was already agreed to with Capstone Homes, why would we scratch them out and put JP Brooks? If Capstone Homes and
Put them
JP,
both in there.
that's what I'm saying,
works.
is that Capstone Homes that was agreed upon. If we're adding additional individuals, I just glanced on the, with JP Brooks, it doesn't look like they're a bad company that I can see. I see nothing outstanding with them.
0.8 on.
I would say we'll agree to amend this, but if we have issues with them, we should have the right to be able to rescind that.
Yeah, we have that right through our taking, not
Do we?
giving permits too, right?
I do know communities that they are
Yeah,
building in don't have any
they're
problems.
happy. They're good to work
I
with.
would just change this and add JP Brooks.
Okay.
And affiliates.
It's the simple change.
And what if there's an issue with JP Brooks?
Then we don't give them permits.
And you don't give them a permit?
Then we, well, we gotta give them a chance to build a couple houses.
No, I'm not
Give them a
saying,
chance
I
to
said,
bail.
that ain't what I said.
Oh, okay.
My question was, what if we have a problem with JP Brooks?
Oh, then they
You
wouldn't
wouldn't
be
issue
able to pull
them
any
a permit?
permits. Yeah.
Oh, cease and desist.
No, they wouldn't be able to pull any more
Yeah,
permits, but
So what's your
we
pleasure?
gotta give them a chance to fail.
So what's your pleasure?
I'd make a motion to approve the,
Addition of JP Brooks and leave the rest of the language, in as submitted, right?
is this my motion or your motion?
No, I'm just asking. No, I'm just asking.
I'm just kidding.
So
Yeah, so for my motion would be to keep it in, to add it. Keep the languages,
You know,
just add
leave the
it.
original language, but add JP Brooks to the last one.
So move.
Second. I was just asking him.
I'm giving you a hard
Does that
time.
mean that
This
middle
meeting's too
sentence
much
would
fun.
stay in there?
Yes,
Cause there are situations where the home buyer, the lot goes in their name and they do the construction loan through the builder. That legally, technically doesn't allow that to happen.
What's the wording in there that's,
Subdivider agrees that no undeveloped lots on the property are shown to third, shall be sold to a third party until such time as a completed home is constructed on the lot.
Paul,
You're saying that,
So if I'm a buyer, I come in, I may say I wanna do my own construction financing. To do that, the only way to do it is put the lot in that buyer's name and they have the contract with either say Capstone or JP Brooks. Versus that way you don't have a second closing, they close the lot up front and then own it and they just have a contract to build a home with that builder on that lot.
oh, I see. So if they don't wanna tie it in, if they don't wanna tie it into the home loan, they can do it separate.
Correct.
Ah, okay.
So that language kind of complicates it a little bit. I mean, you probably don't even know if that did happen, but I don't want to be some sort of. Oh, they closed the lot with the home buyer before the home was constructed. That's not the way it's supposed to.
Paul, do you see?
what's to say there isn't several out there that just, sell a bunch of lots and they never get developed?
Because we have purchase agreements with Capstone and JP Brooks. We can't sell lots to anybody else, but they have the right to do that. They would assign it at closing into that buyer's name with their contract.
The house and JP Brooks or
Yeah,
Capital,
or something.
got it.
Yes, we wouldn't be able to do it, but the builder could.
Okay, what do you think of that, Paul?
Affiliated subdivider, Capstone Homes.
I think you'd have to change that sentence. To talk about, the ultimate homeowner buying the lot. And then contracting with an approved builder,
You,
because if you just exclude an ultimate home buyer, then. That doesn't help your problem, I don't think.
Yeah, well, limits financing options.
Because then they can
mm,
They can have anybody built. The idea is to have approved builders built. So,
Yeah, I just don't wanna restrict that the home buyer that's building with Capstone or JP Brooks. Can't do that.
Well, can I,
Just
let me make this suggestion tonight. We can add the JP Brooks language and we can address that with legal as far as what you're comfortable on to address the situation that you're dealing with right now, right?
we
That
can,
makes sense.
I think, to handle that, what you're concerned about.
That way the legal bills can determine how to deal with that sentence. So
are we,
I would leave that sentence in until we got recommended from legal how to amend it.
how long do you have
address
to
this
wait
issue.
for this?
Yeah.
Does he have to wait for the next board meeting?
Well, not if we put JP Morgan, because he could still sell JP Brooks, and then if you got other situations, you'll get that addressed through legal then. You don't have anything outstanding there right now.
I think it'd just be easier to do it all at once. How long would it take? to get that?
Owner buying,
Us from us?
Yeah.
No, we have contracts with the builders. I'm saying that they would be the ones that would do that, not us. And then what happens is they would assign it at closing to that buyer versus us selling it to JP Brooks, then doing a second closing with JP Brooks to the buyer. It just saves closing costs.
Can I make my motion contingent upon the feedback from Paul? Within the next couple days, and then it can be. approved with the spirit of what we've discussed here. Can I make that motion?
Yeah.
It's a very complicated motion, I know. It's got
Still
spirit. in it.
second that.
Okay. So my motion is to,
Leave the current language.
adopt the wording shown here. No, scratch it. My motion is to adopt. JP Brooks, add JP Brooks onto Capstone Homes or affiliated. And then change the wording for the striked out section. Based on feedback from legal. That's my motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to add the language JP Brooks at the end of the last sentence
And affiliates.
and its affiliates.
Yep, keep that there.
And then we'll.
And the strikeout will be agreed to by, legal and the development. Right?
Sounds good.
The strikeout portion will be agreed to,
Based on what we discussed here.
right? Discussion.
We got a second. Yeah, we got a
Yeah,
second.
Yeah, motion made second. You were okay with that second? Okay.
Discussion.
So. Should we garner some time for us to at least do a little research on JP Brooks? I've never heard of him.
I just did.
No, they look good.
Bob
I
has.
just heard of him here.
Yeah.
So did I.
So,
I mean, you can vote no on it if you wanna.
no, I'm not gonna vote no, but at least give us some time to look into it and
I'm not gonna change my motion. But you're asking them that, so you can vote no and we can,
Make another motion.
yeah.
put it forward.
What'd you say?
Well, there's a first and a second already.
Yeah, I know this.
I didn't, I'm sorry.
I'm just looking, I think we should have time, other than coming here and giving information to me personally, that how can I? A quick Google search says, oh, these guys are good. Well, I've seen bad people on Google and they get rated good, I mean, and being that housing has been my industry for 48 years. And I've seen good and shoddy builders. And as John, as you know, that we've had people that we are limiting the building in our community because of shoddy work. And I think that as homeowners who want to invest in our community, they expect to get a good quality home. I mean, I think if we're gonna vet builders, let's have a chance to vet them.
So, and it's the discussion on the motion. Okay, I understand what you're saying, Dave, and I'll say this, is that as to a person that's in the trades, that my question was, what if they are a bad builder? And the answer I heard was, we will withdraw, we will not be utilizing or issuing them permits. So my suggestion on the face of this is we approve the matter. I've looked at them, they're doing work in Prescott, they're doing work in New Richmond. I have not heard anything as far as bad. They've done work over in the Twin Cities. We monitor them, and I would say going forward, we'd like to get a little more notice than, this, but, I mean, and
We have the
Just say-
safety net of our building inspector as well.
Yeah.
Who can.
Right.
Give us direct feedback along with. Every home that's built has to adhere to a very big book of building codes.
And I'm sure every home is meeting the codes 100%.
Like
Right,
mine,
Jesse?
like mine was not.
so that's our safety net is all I can say. And going forward, I would encourage that if we have additional people that you want to bring forward to us, that we get notice and so we can get a chance to look at them. But that's where I think we need to go and take this motion forward, okay? So the motion is gonna be put forth. Is there further discussion? Okay, hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Okay,
One abstention. Okay. Next item on the agenda is to make a motion to convene into closed session for Wisconsin statute 1985, section 1, subsection B, deliberating or negotiating the purchase of public properties, invest in public funds, conducting other specific public businesses, whatever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session, Capstone's economic development updates, dog park proposal at 785 for Spring Street. That's the motion.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Donald Kern, aye. Trustee Dubak,
I,
trustee Carn,
Aye.
trustee Crone,
Aye.
trustee Flirt,
Aye.
trustee Stewart,
Aye.
trustee Wallner.
Aye.
Okay, motion is carried. We are in closed session.
Okay, just give me a minute.